Welcome to another episode of our SaaS Stories podcast. I'm your host, Ash, and this is a show where I interview proven founders and industry experts who share their stories, strategies, and insights to help you build, launch, and grow your SaaS business. In this episode, I talked to Adabara, an experienced data reigns supreme. His visionary entrepreneur dared to bridge the gap between technology and marketing expertise, paving the way for groundbreaking advancement in the industry. A trailblazer with a diverse background in computer science and a decade-long tenure in marketing within the investment banking sector, having successfully built and expanded a thriving marketing agency. Adabara's journey took a momentous turn when he recognized a pressing need for better data utilization in the marketing landscape. This realization led to the birth of Datafy, a cutting-edge startup that now stands at the forefront of marketing analytics and insights. Datafy's mission is clear: to provide marketers with a centralized platform that seamlessly integrates, analyzes, and derives actionable insights from their multifarious data sources. So, I hope you enjoy it. Okay, Adabara, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Do you have a favorite quote, something that inspires or motivates you that you can share?
Yeah, there are many quotes. The one that comes to mind now is really the Nike tagline, which is "Just do it." And the reason why I like that quote is that I think in business or in the startup world, the people who tend to sort of get ahead are people who just get things done. So I like the Nike strapline, "Just do it." So that's what I'm going for today.
Perfect. So tell us about Datafy. What does the product do? Who is it for? And what's the main problem you're helping to solve?
Cool. Thanks for that question. So Datafy is a marketing analytics platform. And what it does is that it helps marketers collect all of their marketing data from the various sources that they run marketing campaigns, their Facebook account, TikTok, Google, and so on. Put all of that data into a central database or repository. So you have all of your data in one place. Once that's done, we then run various machine learning and AI models to analyze the data, to draw out trends, opportunities, and so on, predict certain metrics, just to help marketers make better informed decisions on their campaigns. And once that's done, it takes the results of the analysis and uses it automatically to improve the campaign. So the typical outcome is better ROIs, better measurement for marketers' campaigns. The main problem that we're solving actually is twofold. First of all, if you look at the last 20 years of marketing, right, marketers have relied on web browser cookies and third-party data sources to target people, to measure the performance of their campaigns. But that's no longer possible due to privacy regulation. Marketers can only now use their own first-party data sources, for targeting, optimization, and so on. The difficulty with that is, in order to use your own first-party data, it requires some technical and engineering expertise to put the data together, run the analysis. And marketers are not engineers, right? They're marketers. They want to run campaigns. They want to experiment on audiences. They want to ultimately get new customers and prove the value of marketing to an organization. But it's a lot difficult to do that now, just because of this privacy regulation. So marketers are finding that they need to work with engineers to get these things done. So we just want to take away that complex sort of engineering and data science process and make marketers make better decisions with their data, accurate data, and sort of targeting the right customers and so on and so forth, and ultimately getting better ROI on their ads.
Yeah. And I think you're absolutely spot on, because I have heard this in one of the talks I've attended recently in Central London, where got to know that not just European Union, but also states and many other parts of the world, they're trying to ban the usage of cookies specifically towards the marketing side of it. And there's lots of startups who are focusing on this challenge at the moment, because ultimately it's a around 30 to 32% market which is captured, which is still actually ran by direct marketing, like Facebook ads or any kind of ads online. That will be directly affected if one day Facebook or any other social media platform literally say, oh, we can't provide you any information anymore. Basically, you're young by your own.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can dig it. Right. So before we start digging into the story of Datafy and understand more about it, I would like to know more about you. Who is Adabara? Where did he grow up? What's his favorite sports? What kind of bringing up he had, which gave him the power, the super power to start this startup? Because most of the time when I speak with this, they had some kind of edge in their childhood or in their journey towards their teenager or their young lifespan, where they had this learnings or teachings from their either elders or friends or family or bosses, which gives them the edge to go forward and take the risk to start the startup. So I would like to know more about you and your background first before we go further.
All right. So I'm from Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria. And when I was, I guess when I was a kid, with computer games and all of that stuff, I kind of concluded that that computers or technology was going to be the future. I guess that was probably an easy prediction to make, right? But because of that, I decided I wanted to study computer science. So when I graduated from high school, I had the opportunity to be sent over to the UK to come and further my education, further my studies. So again, as you know, as a young person, when you go to a new country, you have to go and navigate the world on your own. You just sort of have a little bit more sort of independence. So that kind of shaped me into just sort of going out there to achieve things. When I graduated from university, I got an offer to work at Barclays investment bank. So I worked there for about 10 years. And then after that, I worked at the marketing agency. I started up my own agency, started working with marketers, in my own capacity, understanding more about their problems and challenges with data. And, after some time, we started hearing about privacy regulation, GDPR, third-party cookies being blocked. And I saw firsthand how this was impacting marketers' results, what they were saying to us in terms of where they needed help. And that's just kind of inspired us to really go and tackle that problem because it was the biggest area within marketing where the biggest problems were. So we then pivoted the marketing agency into Datafy, which is really the marketing analytics company.
Makes sense. And now because you had all these commercial experiences and all these experiences with these giants, you kind of have this understanding of pain points in the market.
Yeah, I mean, we over the last 20 years in advertising, right? Literally now is over the last 2 years, I would say, up until now, because the whole process has taken a couple of years to kick in, but the whole industry has been turned on its head. It's like the way you've been doing things for the last 20 years is no longer allowed. Now we need to find a new way to target people in a way that is privacy safe and compliant. And yeah, that's the biggest area in marketing today. And I think the players who get it right would really help to shape the future of the industry, and that's what Datafy is trying to do.
And by the way, I really really like the name of your startup. It's really punchy. Okay, so let's talk about where the story actually began. Where did the idea for Datafy came from, and how did it begin altogether?
Yeah, it probably kicks in. So Datafy is a it's a company that it's a 1 year old company now. Although I've thought about it with my co-founder um for a few months right before we actually got it started. But it was from our work at the marketing agency, like our running marketing agency, just keeping up with what's happening in the industry, what advertisers are saying in terms of their pain points, the challenges that even we were seeing when we were running campaigns for other customers. It was just the loss of data made things a lot more difficult. A lot of campaign ROIs were coming down. So we thought, okay, let's look at how we can help to solve the problem. Because ultimately, if you help the marketer get better ROIs and get better performance on their campaigns, then they would want to work with you. That's really what they're about, especially this direct to consumer marketers, where every pound or every cent or every penny of margin is helps with the narrative. So that's what we do, is just help improve that performance. And yeah, it was from our experience at the marketing agency.
Right. Okay. And when you had that epiphany, did you look into the market where there were other products? What was going on at that time, and what did you see from your research that encouraged you to move ahead with this?
Yeah, so this was a brand new change in the industry where everybody basically had to start from scratch. And one of the initial products, or one of the initial changes that we saw in the market, was like a company like Facebook. Typically, when you run ads on Facebook, in order to measure how that campaign is performing, say on your website, in terms of purchases of your products or people becoming leads, they have a product called the Facebook Pixel, which is some code that you put on your website, and that fires based on cookie tracking, and that included some third-party cookies in the past. But Facebook came out with a new product and said, this Facebook Pixel is not the future, because it relies on cookies, and they came out with what we call Conversions API. This was back in 2020, like in the middle of the pandemic. So that Conversions API was like the first move in the market for an advert for one of the big platforms, which Facebook and Google are the two big platforms. But almost like half of that platform came and said, this is a new product. We're changing how things are done from a tracking standpoint. So that caught my interest. Like, if a massive company like Facebook or Meta will change how they do the tracking, what would other people do? And then you have the likes of Apple with iOS 14. Blocks now, like you can't track when people are using mobile apps on an iPhone. You can no longer track what they're doing. So again, that took away data from marketers and just made need even more pressing. They have the likes of Google that represents the lion's share of the browser market with Google Chrome, saying that they're also going to stop supporting these third-party cookies, right? So with all the incumbents, when they all start saying we're no longer supporting third-party cookies, marketers are like, what do we do? So, in terms of alternatives, the market, yeah, I mean, there are others. I'm happy to talk about the competitors if that's the question, but we did see one or two other people trying to sort of solve the problem, but it's in the early stages, and it's almost like the Wild West, where this is a big problem to solve the marketing, and I guess the best players really will win in that market.
Indeed, yeah. And Is it a completely bootstrap project? Do you raise any funding yet?
Yeah, we've raised some funding. We are currently raising as well right now. We have raised some money, some
Okay.
investment.
Okay. So you have got some injection already.
We've raised money, and we are raising we are raising right now as well. So um yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Um, so could you tell us more about, like, give us a sense of size of the business, where you are in terms of, revenue or number of customers, size of team, etc.
Yeah. So in our team, there are five of us. Me, my co-founder, and three others. Um, in terms of revenue, all I'll say is that you just put us at the up to £1 million ARR mark.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll leave it as. And what was the other question?
So just size of the team and number of customers.
Yeah. So again, we have different customers, from marketing agencies that we partner with to some enterprise customers that we work directly with. Um, so again, I'll put the number of customers at the low double digits. So we have a strategy of going after big enterprise customers. So again, I guess it takes time with some of them, but yes, at the sort of low double digits.
Right. Okay. Um, so I also want to dig into, your competitors, because you mentioned that this is a brand new market. But before jumping into that part, what I would like to know is, you said that you have a co-founder in the team, right? Yeah. Most of the time when I meet some founders, and when they have their seed funding sorted, or some kind of injection is done, um, then you start building a team. It gets to a point where the decision-making process gets a little bit tedious, because obviously you have a co-founder, and you always have to talk with the co-founder before you make a decision. So how do you streamline your decision-making process in Datafy?
I think it's if it's between my co-founder and I, then it's just having clear responsibility of who is responsible for what. I think ultimately, as the CEO, I have um, I can sort of help, should I say, break the tie if there's inconsensus on the decision. But I would say it's a problem now because my co-founder, he did a lot of our tech work. So there are not really times where I need to, go and have an argument or a disagreement about what's happening on the tech side, because he's leading that, and he, I guess, is very capable, more than capable. We don't have disagreements in terms of that, because he does his job well. Yeah, it's just that those clear sort of, this is what you're responsible for, this is what I'm responsible for, and we don't tend to overlap from that perspective. But in certain situations where there are different opinions, and one way or the other the decision has to be made, then it will usually fall on me to make that decision. So, and everyone is fine with that, and it works quite well for us. But I see your point, and I know that sometimes with co-founders things can get a little bit difficult, especially if those roles and responsibilities are not clarified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of the things which is, the moment you have a company started and you have a co-founder, you need to specify roles and responsibilities very, very clearly, because that creates a lot of issue. So, okay, let's move to the next part then. there will be a lot of listeners for this podcast who will be listening to you when we, when we go live. Um, Tell me how Datafy could help. I mean, I don't know what is your ICP, ideal customer profile, but um, okay, let's go in this direction. Who is your ICP, ideal customer profile, and then how you help them step by step, starting to get onboarded with Datafy till receiving the benefit of the platform.
Yeah. So ideal customer profile is we do a lot of in e-commerce, right? I use that as an example. It could be, a gentleman and his wife. Maybe they sell t-shirts online. They do about, I don't know, somewhere between 5 to 10 million pounds in sales. They spend anywhere from 500K to £1 million in marketing spend, and they want the performance for that 500K they're spending. I don't know, say for 500K spend, they get back £1 million in revenue. That'll be like a 2x return on ad spend. So it's taking people like that from a 2x return on ad spend. How to take it to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10x. So that's an ideal profile in terms of this customer. They sell t-shirts. What they want to do is they want to sell more t-shirts. They're not really concerned about. They don't want to get too involved with engineering or they just want it to work. So these people are looking for a ready-made solution. So now the ideal sort of customer. Then there's also marketing agencies. Marketing agencies, their job, they are incentivized to get better campaign results for their own customers. So they are a good also customer for us in that when we partner with them, they bring their own end customers to try and get them results or performance on their campaigns. And what's the onboarding process? Typically, when a customer comes in, they might have an account on Facebook, they might have an account on Google, they might have their websites maybe on Shopify or whatever Wix. So when they come, it's the integration is it's like pressing a button, right? You press a button, your Shopify data gets connected. You press a button, the Facebook data gets connected, and so on and so forth. So it's really just a button that they press, and then it brings in their data, and then our system does the rest of the work and starts improving their campaigns and giving them analysis and so on and so forth. So it's pretty straightforward onboarding our new customers. And then what typically happens is once we onboard them, there's like an initial period of like a couple of weeks where we start monitoring how their campaigns are changing or performing or improving after integration our product. They also get different types of dashboards and analytics that shows them new things about their data, new things about their marketing that they didn't know before. For example, there might be certain campaigns in their accounts that they didn't realize those campaigns were actually high performing campaigns, and that's because the numbers were not presented to them in a way that was fair enough. Or one of the recent features that we launched is more to do with generative AI, where we can analyze all of the images, all of the ad copy of their Facebook, Google ads, and it gives them recommendations on how to improve the images, how to improve the copy, and so on and so forth. So all of these things helps and sort of contributes to giving them a better performance on their campaigns.
Yeah. Got it. So do they have to install any kind of JavaScript code on their website, or do they have to do any kind of manual work, which, I don't know, in which actually feeds your software or your platform some data, or is it just all automated?
So no, they don't have to implement any JavaScript on their website because that way of putting JavaScript on website is part of the old way of doing things with cookies. Now everything is on the server side. So it's like their Facebook account on the server talking directly to Datafy on the server, talking to all the different accounts. So the browser doesn't come into the picture. What was the second part of the question?
So I was just trying to understand. You mentioned that the customer, when they're on board, they connect their Facebook or Google Analytics or Google AdWords account with Datafy, which gives them an insight. But what about their website or their platform? Do they have to sort of like connect it with? So, for example, let's say if they're on Shopify, I think it would be much easier because they just go onto their dashboard and connect it. But what if they have a WordPress or something plain HTML? How do they connect it?
That's a great question. So, depending on the platform, like there are certain big ecosystems like Shopify or HubSpot, Salesforce, and so on that the integrations are pre-built. But sometimes a customer might have a tech stack that is not common, or they might have like a bespoke customer database or something that requires some sort of bespoke customization to integrate. So we have some of those, but for those type of customers, especially if it's the larger ones, then we are able to sort of do some customization to onboard them. But typically, how most people would come onto our platform or our product is they will just use a pre-made connector. I'll give you an example. Regardless of what platform you come from, your web analytics data, all of that, if you have Google Analytics, it will cover that, whether you're on Shopify or whether you're on WordPress or, So, but there are also times where people have their own CRM, they have their own in-house data, so data from their website or people becoming leads and so on. That data goes into their CRM, their HubSpot, their Salesforce. And for those platforms, we have automated integrations. But yeah, we can accommodate bespoke sources with our team, with our engineers. But typically, most customers use one of the ready-made connectors.
Right. Okay. So, could you give us an example, a case study of one of your previous customer? You don't have to take any names here. Just an idea of what kind of customer was it? What was the stage they were in when they reached out to you? How did you analyze their business in order to give them sort of like a benefit case in order to sell your product? How did you sell it? How did you integrate it? And what was the outcome after a certain time frame?
Yeah. So one good case study we have is with the marketing agency. I think the reason why the marketing agencies are good is because they're looking for partners to help them look good, I guess, and they look good when their ROIs go up. So we have a couple of really good examples where we worked with an agency and then they brought the first customer, and because things worked out so well, then they've gone and brought more customers. So we like when that happens. The challenge with this customer was this marketing agency. They had an e-commerce company that was their customer. That particular customer, their ad ROIs on Facebook had gone down significantly over the last year. So they used to do an average of about close to 30% in the ROI, which is quite high for GM. But those numbers went down to well below 10%. And we're just looking for a partner to help them at least get back to where things were. And the reason why the performance went down so much is because they lost a lot of that third-party data that they used to use for their targeting in the past. So by coming and working with us, using Datafy to analyze their data, collect the first-party data, do all of the analytics, draw the insights from the machine learning, the AI. Their campaigns went back to, north of 35%, close to 40%, which for them was like unheard of, because again, in this new way of marketing, if you're not putting your data to work in the correct way, it's difficult to get good performance. So that was really the outcome, right? Because we got their ads performing to a level that it was back, 2 years ago when cookies were third-party were allowed. Now, without all of that, we're getting them performance even slightly better. So that worked quite well. They brought a couple more customers, so things are going really well on that front. And for us, when we have other customers or people referring our products without us saying anything or doing anything, that really works out well, because it's almost like word of mouth, which is free marketing. So that always works out well.
Yeah. Would you be able to tell us about the numbers? So when they came to you, where were they in terms of the numbers of generating the revenue or sales? And then once they implemented the Datafy analytics, how much they grown up?
Yeah, so they are the key metric in our space is the ROAS, return on ad spend, or the ROI. So their return on ad spend was below 10% when they came to us to work with Datafy, and today it's like between 35 to 40%. So we've brought it up significantly, a lot higher. I think that would be the clearest way to
demonstrate. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So just to make it easier for our listeners is, for example, if Adabara's customers were spending around £100,000 for a particular advertisement, they were getting revenue generated around £110,000 approximately, and then when they integrated Datafy, it has grown up to 130. Is that correct?
Yeah, 135.
Yeah.
130.
Yeah. Okay, great. So tell us more about how do you measure the impact of your product on your customers? Like, I know that there's this KPI which you just mentioned, but what steps do you take to continuously improve and optimize the value you deliver?
I guess we're still in the early stage, right? I guess. So when you're in the earlier stages, it's a lot easier to be able to be talking to all of your customers. So we're at that stage where we're talking to our customers every day. By talking to them every day, we learn more about their challenges. We learn more about where we're being effective, where we're not as effective, and that allows us to tailor or improve our services to keep the customers even happier. But that's it. The answer is just by talking to customers, showing them that we care, being accessible. A customer could send me a message, on Slack or whatever. I could be in the middle of, it could be on the tube or whatever, respond. So we're very accessible, helpful, and customers like us for that. There might be certain other SaaS experiences where it's not as easy to get hold of the company or to speak to someone. But with us, it's very easy and accessible. And I know it becomes a little bit more challenging as you scale. But at least for us, it's a lot easier to be able to do that now. Just keep talking to customers and making sure that we're continuing to help them and support them with their goals.
Yeah. Okay, so we're moving towards the end of our interview. So would like to know more about, like, throughout your journey and experience, that there must have been valuable lessons learned. If you don't mind sharing, could you reflect on your experiences and tell us about one mistake or a setback that you encountered along the way that you now consider a regret or maybe a lessons learned, And additionally, what advice would you give our listeners based on this experience?
I don't know. I guess maybe. So, Stephen, I think about this more from a entrepreneur slash founder perspective. So there are listeners out there, people who are thinking about potentially, quitting their jobs and becoming founders, and maybe I can give some thoughts there. I think first of all, one of the reasons why I went into entrepreneurship is because I believe that I can have a greater impact on the world by trying to, I guess, follow my own dream and my own purpose than, say, for example, being in the traditional sort of corporate 9 to 5. So first of all, it's important to know why you want to go into entrepreneurship or start a business, because once you know why, what you find out is that, or at least in my own case, the early days when I first, quit my job, is, what you think or how you think things would go. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but at least for my own self, how you think things would go is not necessarily how things go. Things go, a little bit more staggered. There are a lot of things that you thought would go well that wouldn't go as well. But as long as you remember why you are doing what you're doing, then that will help to carry you through. I would say a lot of founders as well, when they go into to business, especially in the SaaS or in software as a service or in tech space, I'll advise people to, not underestimate what a fundraising process could look like. And I think a lot of founders sometimes they want to bootstrap, and maybe because they think the fundraising process is a little bit too difficult, of which it is right now, actually, in this sort of market. But you have to keep pushing. Have all those meetings. Like, I never thought I'd raise money, but I was able to do that, at least to an extent. I'm still doing more. So, believe in yourself. Don't be afraid to, go and talk to investors, talk to friends, talk to families, or whatever it is, and get people to back your idea. It's nice to, I don't know, maybe do some consulting on the side to try and fund your business, but ultimately you want to try and just raise something, however small, show some traction, and then grow from there. And again, there'll be a lot of setbacks along the way, but as long as you remember where, why, that will carry you through.
Perfect. Sounds good. Okay, we should wrap up now. So we're going to go into the lightning round. I've got 6 quick-fire questions for you. So just try to answer them as quickly as you can. You ready? Yeah. All right, great. What's one of the best piece of business advice you have received?
Oh, well, best piece of business. I think it's probably going to back to one of the mistakes I made earlier in my career, which is like not properly understanding business contracts. Like, if you're going into a business deal with another organization or so, to just make sure you understand the contracts properly. You really don't just leave it to your lawyers, understand it as well. So that's the best advice I say, is read all your contracts, understand that legal side as well.
Nice. What book would you recommend to our audience and why?
Hard Thing About Hard Things by what's his name? Is Ben Horowitz or Mark Andreessen, one of the A16Z guys. These guys, they've done it right. They're at the top of the PC game. They've built companies. They've sold it. So when someone who's experienced in that space is giving advice, you probably want to listen. But there are some really good nuggets in there. And the Hard Thing About Hard Things by Mark Andreessen.
Okay. What's one attribute or characteristic in your mind of a successful founder?
I think you need to have tenacity, because if you're tenacious and and you have belief in, you be honest with yourself, like, is there really an opportunity there? And if there is, have belief in yourself and go and get it right. Things won't be very straightforward, but if you're tenacious, then things can work out really good. This entrepreneurial journey is not something to be glamorized. It's a lot of hard work, but really good outcomes can come out of it if you're tenacious.
Yeah, yeah. What's your favorite personal productivity tool or habit?
So ChatGPT, that's my favorite.
Okay, and what's a new or crazy business idea you would love to pursue if you had the time?
Maybe space exploration. But
Yeah.
I think space exploration will be a lot of fun.
Okay, and the last but not least, what's an interesting or fun fact about you that most people don't know?
Fun fact about me. Guess I'm married with kids. Most people in this on this podcast wouldn't know that. So yeah, I'm not sure I'll do this, but yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Adabara, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your story and unpacking the last years of building this business and some of the ups and downs along the way. If people want to check out Datafy, what's the website for it?
So it's trydatafy.com. Trydatafy.com.
Okay. And if folks want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yes, find me on LinkedIn, Adabara Abdullahi. I think I'm the only one on LinkedIn with that name, so hopefully it'll be easy to find.
Perfect. Adabara, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your inspiring journey and the impactful work you're doing through Datafy. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on SaaS Stories podcast.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning into this episode of our SaaS Stories podcast. I hope you found our conversation with Adabara insightful and inspiring. If you're a founder or industry expert interested in sharing your story on our SaaS podcast, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Simply email me at ash@artcircles.com and let's connect for a potential interview opportunity. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to our podcast and stay updated on future interviews with proven founders and industry experts. We have a lineup of incredible guests and valuable insights coming your way. Stay inspired, stay motivated, keep building.